Simsim and the Art of the Silent Apology. The Mystery of the Missing Cake. The Bavarian forest was preparing for the Spring Fruit Festival, a celebration where every animal presented a special dish made from fresh fruit. Mrs. Rifa the sparrow had baked a delicious blueberry cake, its aroma filling the forest, and she had left it to cool on her windowsill before the festival. But when Mrs. Rifa returned, she found something horrifying. The cake had completely vanished. Only a few crumbs were scattered on the ground. "Oh, what a disaster," cried Mrs. Rifa sadly. "Who would dare take my cake?" Suspicions began to circulate around the hungry mice, or perhaps Hafer and Knacker, the mole twins, who were known for their love of delicious food. But no one confessed. Simsim was observing the scene. He had seen something no one else had. Earlier, while the cake was cooling, he had glimpsed a tiny shadow dart by with lightning speed, then disappear with the cake. But the shadow was too fast for Simsim to identify its owner. Here, Simsim's new talent emerges, a curious and exciting aspect of his personality, the art of the silent apology. Simsim didn't have a booming voice or great strength to force the wrongdoer to confess, but he possessed the ability to notice the slightest emotional details, then use them to resolve the situation indirectly, prompting the wrongdoer to confess or compensate without a single word. Simsim began to follow the tiny crumbs that had fallen from the cake. The crumbs led him deep into the forest, towards an area known as the home of the industrious beaver family. Beavers were known for building dams and their diligent work, but sometimes they got carried away by their cravings for delicious food. When Simsim arrived, he saw the small beaver, named Duty, sitting near the water dam, and beside him was a large piece of the blueberry cake. Duty was trying to hide his blueberry-stained grin. Duty wasn't inherently bad, but he had a huge appetite, and the aroma of the cake, which was very close to his dwelling, had tempted him. Simsim didn't accuse Duty directly. Instead, Simsim quietly sat beside him, looking at Duty and the remaining cake with a gaze filled with silent anticipation and slight sadness, as if his golden eyes were saying, "You know this is wrong, my friend, and it's not like you." Simsim didn't say a word, but his silent glances were more eloquent than any speech. Duty felt extremely embarrassed. He wasn't scolded or shouted at, but Simsim's calm gaze made him feel deep guilt. He remembered how everyone had worked hard for the fruit festival, and how much effort Mrs. Rifa had put into making the cake. Duty began to retreat from the remaining cake. Then, in a sudden movement, Duty got up, took what was left of the cake, gently placed it on a large leaf, and began to gather some of the tastiest fresh blueberries from nearby bushes. Duty returned to Mrs. Rifa's home, pulling the remaining cake piece behind him, and on the large leaf, he placed a large pile of fresh blueberries. Duty didn't say a word, but he placed the cake and berries in front of Mrs. Rifa, then bowed respectfully, and his eyes returned to Simsim as if to say, "I got the message. I'm sorry." Mrs. Rifa smiled when she saw this, understanding that Duty had admitted his mistake in his own way. Mrs. Owl Hikmah laughed, "Simsim, you saved the situation again. You made Duty confess his mistake and make amends without a single word. Your talent in the art of the silent apology is truly unique." From that day on, Simsim became known in the forest not only as a detective, intelligent, and a planner, but also as an expert in the art of the silent apology, capable of stirring emotions and correcting mistakes without the need for words.